What's up, guys? So you saw the latest video from Walmart. We got the Ozark Trail here, a second axis lock design. Of course, I got the first one here just for a little bit of a comparison. This one was $5, 7.5 inch folding knife. It's a 3 1/4 inch stainless steel blade, 4 1/4 inch polypropylene handle, shaft lock, and pocket clip. All right, so yeah. Ozark Trail 6974, I guess is the model number. So let's go ahead and rip this guy open. The packaging looks like, I like how, it's nice when you can actually see the whole knife, but obviously they're keeping the blade inside the packaging. Maybe, there's a lot of kids, it's Walmart, it's whatever. But they do give you kind of an idea what it looks like. But let's see here, what am I supposed to fold this in? Or is it just showing that's how the line you cut? I don't know. Let's go ahead and just cut into it. I don't want to cut the blade of the other one, obviously. Alright. There we go. There we have it. Alright. So, first things first. Before I even try that one, I will say, when this one came out of the package, the action is ridiculous. This is the action you want on every axis lock knife ever. And even Benchmade, who created the axis lock, does not have this type of action on all their knives. In fact, it's pretty rare these days to just get one that's that smooth out of the box. Now, that being said, you always have to check up the fit. How's the fit, the blade play? This does have a little bit of side-to-side. There is zero up and down. The side-to-side is what's allowing, less friction, obviously, so it can swing open and close. But let's try this guy. Okay. Yeah, this one is equally as smooth. Let's try that blade play. Actually, there's less side-to-side, which is interesting. And no up and down. So right off the bat, I kind of want to compare these a little bit. This one definitely feels thinner, and it is thinner. So I know it's, looking at a video like, oh, well, it's not that different. Not that different, obviously pictured here through a video. But when you're holding it, that's the first thing I thought was, wow, that's thinner. And obviously the liners are going to be about the same. You can't really get much thinner than that. But the scales on the orange one, they're doesn't even look like they're more contoured. This just happens to be just a little bit thinner. Yeah, I dig the color. The orange is cool. I don't mind that. Obviously, that came out around Halloween, before Halloween, so it's nice to rock the orange and black. This is definitely, some people might say white, you might say gray. I think it's definitely more gray than white. It really depends on what you're comparing it to. If there's something more white, then of course it would look gray. But next to blue or red, it looks white, right? Standoffs, you can see black hardware, black liners, black blade on this guy. Black everything except the standoffs are just, a bare, I'm not even stainless. They're kind of more chrome color. Let's see, pocket clip, different design. This actually hooks in a little bit. I'm not sure how that's going to change how it carries. Probably not much at all. This one's totally straight. This one's got a little bit of a bend to the right. Feels good in the hand though, but like I said, I definitely notice that it's thinner. That's really comes across. Also, this one has a different steel, of course. It's the mystery steel because the packaging doesn't show it. I'm sure it's the 3CR that we get on a lot of Ozark stuff, which you have to do some digging to find that out. But this one is D2. That does make a huge difference in performance. On paper, of course, I'm going to test these, cut them out. I've been carrying this one, using this quite a bit lately. Let's see. I should have grabbed some regular paper, but we'll cut the cardboard here at least. This is very thick, two-sided cardboard, obviously. Yeah, I wish I had paper, because obviously it's a little bit harder to get a nice clean cut on paper. You can always get a clean cut with cardboard if it's even relatively sharp. And as I'm stalling, talking here, I'm looking around for paper. All right, hang on. I can, I'm trying to be lazy. I can edit. I'll go get a piece of paper. I'll be back. All right. So I got a plain piece of printer paper. Let's go with the first one here. Actually, let me use this to cut this in half. After use, by the way. after plenty of use. Now, mind you, I did not sharpen this. I did throw it through a strop, but it was maybe, I don't know, 2 or 3 passes on either side. And this thing is still sharp enough to cleanly slice through paper. All right, let's try our new one, which literally had 2 cuts in cardboard. Okay. I mean, it's slicing. Again, paper is one thing. When you go to actually cut off, you know, cardboard boxes or cut into things, different medium, it's obviously going to feel sharp, but this is just a quick reference side by side. And the reason I'm doing this, because I almost expected this would be pretty sharp, but you have to remember that what blade steel you have really does make a difference. Yeah, it's great. It's $5. I mean, $5. It's hard to complain about any knife that's $5 that actually functions. However, keep in mind, yes, it's twice the price at $10. But if you're going to get, you know, performance that lasts like that, that does make a difference. Especially because people are getting these knives, I think, for beater knives. You know, this is not, you know, like, for a lot of people, it's not just your main knife you go to. If you love knives and you get excited about the Walmart knives, it's probably because you have a knife collection or you have regular knives you have. But these are just like great little beaters. You just don't care. Maybe you eat to see it one day at work, or you eat to see it out in town, whatever, and you just cut stuff to just play around. But a lot of times guys are throwing this in their, you know, toolbox, tackle box, whatever, and you're just beating these things up because they're cheap. Because they're fun to use and they're still decent knives. They're wonderful for the price, but the price point, blade steel, all that stuff really is relevant. So, I mean, right out of the gate, I was expecting to be sharp. I was wondering about the action, but also the action, not only this, and this is something that's very important to note, because these are such mass-produced knives, right? You have these at Walmarts across America, all over the place. Who knows how many of these are made. You get inconsistencies, right? You have lemons. You know, I've experienced this before with past Ozark Trail knives where you can buy 5 of them and one could be amazing and work really well, and 3 or 4 of them could just have a hard time opening and closing, you know, blade centering, you name it, right? So the issue is that I have, you know, 2 examples here. I have one example out of who knows how many thousands, tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of them, right? And same deal with this one. So out of the box, this one, it's sharp. Don't get me wrong, it's sharp, but it's not like impressively sharp. If you can't cleanly slice your paper like this has been, even though this is used, granted, I did throw it on a strop or just a couple passes. I mean, it really wasn't much, but I always do that. It's habit, right? Maybe I shouldn't have. Maybe I should have just left it raw for this comparison, but also this one's fresh out of the box. So in other words, this is performing just slightly better, even though it's used. That's where blade steel matters. You know, it's not all about just being cheap. Sometimes people are spending a lot of money on knives because, yeah, they work better. It's kind of like, you know, anything else, I suppose, if you were to compare it with cars or something. Yeah, well, you know, my $30,000 car gets me to work, sure, but maybe that guy's $70,000 car, you know, can drive 140 miles an hour. You know, maybe that $70,000 car feels like he's sitting on his couch, you know, or massage seat as he's going to work. So, you know, it's not always just you're paying for a name or you're paying for a design. A lot of times you are paying more because you're getting better performance. It's just how it is. It's not always the case, though. That's what muddies the water, where someone gets a more expensive knife and then they're just not getting that performance, and they're like, well, you know, I don't know why people are spending more on knives where they're just not better. And obviously it's not true. We know that. So, yeah, I mean, out of the box, though, I'm still very impressed. It's just, it goes back to the, you know, what is your purpose for this? Is this a fun novelty because you love checking out the Walmart knives? Is this going to be your main knife? Like, if you guys carry this and this is your, like, go-to knife, and that's why you're just on a budget, or maybe you're not that into knives, but you want a decent folder for under 20 bucks or so, I would 1,000,000% go with this one. Now, again, this is just the beginning of my testing. Maybe something happens that, you know, I end up liking this more. I don't think so, but, you know, who knows. But for $10 to have D2, even a lower quality D2, but it seems to be properly heat treated, that's really what matters, compared to $5, but a knife that just won't hold an edge. I mean, if it's not razor sharp out of the box, that really doesn't reflect the longevity of the edge holding capability. Does that make sense? I mean, I've had fantastic knives with premium steels that just, from the factory, they just weren't sharpened properly, whether they were sharpened on a machine or a guy hand sharpened them, but, you know, who knows, maybe he turned to look at something that last pass and it just dulled it off a little bit. Who knows? You know, I don't know all the different factors that go into this stuff, but I'm just saying this one's not just twice as good for twice the price. This is, you know, light years better because it has the capability of actually staying sharp. What are the purpose of these? These are tools. These are knives. You want them to stay sharp. So if it's just pocket candy, this is certainly not the candy you want. This is the grandma's unwrapped, you know, hard candy on the bottom of the purse that's been there for who knows how long. And that's the candy you actually enjoy. So yeah, I mean, for $5, should you be trying it out? Absolutely. It's $5. Go get one. See what you think, right? You can't lose for $5. But I'm just saying, if you're like serious about this, if you're really into, hey, I want to carry an Ozark trail knife and I want to get the best one, like this one has just been the best one so far across the board, regardless of, ever since it started, ever since they were $3.97 or whatever they started off as, you know, all the way up to $7, $8 each or $10 each or whatever it is. That's the best one so far. It really has been. However, Christmas season, you know, they put out the cheaper stuff. You know, they're able to offer these at $5, and that's probably a big factor is because of the steel. But I will say that I know there's, you know, different Frankensteins out there, because, you know, Frankenstein was a doctor, right? Not the monster. I know you guys are going to swap blades. I don't know 100% if it's compatible. You can see the pivot screw is a little bit off-center. This one's pretty centered. I'm just kind of eyeballing here. You'd have to try yourself. I don't know, if I have time, maybe I'll check it out. But yeah, obviously the D2 blade in this handle, if you happen to like the handle more, the color, the fit, the fact that it's just slightly thinner, that kind of thing. I will say the jimping is like non-existent here on the other one. At least it's in the handle a little bit, but it's not stopping your hand from it. I mean, there's just no grip there. It's a thumb tickler. That's what I call it. Pocket clip on this guy, I could feel it. It's not uncomfortable. This one actually just feels more comfortable where it sits, where it lands. If I can give you a little shot of that, they look about the same. This one might be a little bit, this might stick out just like a hair more. I just happen to feel it in the palm here, but like if I'm really, really squeezing down with all my might, it's not like, it doesn't hurt. Now, again, that's just me squeezing. If I'm cutting cardboard, and what ends up happening is your grip, it can change. You know, as you're pushing through things, different medium, it's moving around, it's pivoting and doing all kinds of things. That's what creates hot spots. It's not because it's just resting lightly, obviously. It's when it's rubbing and digging and going back and forth. That's where you get the blisters and the irritation and the red marks, all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, the action's good. It's, like I said, I mean, this one I have to, this action looks amazing because I do have to actually tighten it just a hair. So I will actually do this after the video since I've been using it, loosened up a little from, you know, when it was new. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, the new Ozark Trail. I think it's cool. I think it would have been more than amazing if they went with D2 on this for $5. That would have been like probably the best knife ever, because I can't imagine them getting cheaper with D2. But because it's not, that is a big deal to me. And I just think it's just fun to play around with. That's it. If you're just, you know, there's a lot of people, by the way, who carry a knife and they rarely use it. And that's fine. It just depends on who you are, what your life is like. I know dudes who carry knives and they almost never use them. But guess what? Once in a blue moon, something will pop up and it's like, okay, oh, hey, it's Christmas morning and hey, Jack over there, he always carries a knife. We need to get this package open for the kids. Hey, good thing Jack carried a knife, right? And there you go, you open it. No big deal. Generally, you're home. You could probably find scissors or some other way to open it. But Jack was there in the moment with his knife, finally got to use it. You know, maybe Jack's out somewhere and, I don't know, there's a loose string on his shirt just hanging. And it's really annoying. And if it pulls, it's going to damage his shirt, which he really loves. Jack loves that shirt. So, hey, out comes a knife and just a little snip right there. Boom, done. Right? Just because you're not using your knife day in and day out doesn't mean anything. It just means that's your life, you know? So you don't have to prioritize getting this amazing, expensive knife with a high-end steel. That's really just for the satisfaction of owning it. That's an ownership appreciation type thing where it's just not, it's not necessary is what I'm saying. You know, I'm all over the place with knives. I carry super duper cheap knives. I carry expensive knives. I you know, used knives. Sometimes I just have knives that I collect that don't get used. I've carried knives before as pocket jewelry just because they're awesome, and have hesitated because I just didn't want to use them. Like, I don't want to scratch this one. This one's really nice and expensive. You know, I know it. I know every aspect of this whole thing. So anyway, all that aside, I think it's cool just because it's new. I will always feel that way. I think the axis lock is a total win, or whatever they call it. What do they call it here? They don't call it an axis lock, right? It's some other ridiculous name. I forget. I'm looking on the cut-up packaging now. Shaft lock. That's right. Shaft lock. So yeah. And you can see the design is actually a little bit different on those. This one has a closed-in top. All right. Let the camera focus for a second. Sorry about that. All right. So you see this is just flat. And as far as how they feel, I will say that on the orange one, it does stick out a little bit more. All right. So it's just a little tiny bit easier to get to. You could probably see that. I mean, it's quite obvious when, you know, you look at it like this, especially with the white background. So yeah, I mean, everything about the orange one seems better, except for I like that this one's thinner, and I like the color, and I like that it's half the price. That's about it. But when you're talking about, you know, $5, $10, yeah, half the price, okay, fine. But I think everyone can find $10 if you try to prioritize it. You see, thumb studs are actually just a hair longer as well. But yeah, that's pretty much it. This one has a stop pin on the back, which is interesting because this one does, oh, it does, I'm sorry. This one's just inside the liners. This one has an exposed hardware on the outside. But yeah, so there you go. The grip on that means nothing. Neither one of them have grip like that. It's just kind of how it looks. Fake inserts, I guess, cut into it. You can see there's flat hardware on this. This one is, you know, it's a domed head, which again means nothing. I do like that on the orange one, again, another pro for the orange. I like that, and it's such a minor detail, but I've always liked a presentation side hardware. When I say that, what I'm always referring to is that the screw heads are on the back. So I'm a righty, right? The majority of people are righties. So when you're holding a knife in your right hand, you don't see the screw heads. You see this female, very smooth, very clean look. Whereas this one has, there's your Torx screw, and they're double-sided. What's interesting too, just looking at this real quick, if you decide to tinker, is the Torx head on this one. I don't know if you could tell, but that looks bigger on the presentation side. That definitely is a smaller size Torx to the back. So keep that in mind. If you want to take these off, you need two different sizes. And you know what? That is a very smart move, because if you're not a knife collector and you don't have 4 or 5 sets of Torx drivers, you might just have one set, like a normal person. Actually, normal people probably don't have any Torx drivers, but you know, I'm using the term normal loosely. But because I do the knife thing, I've had so many different sets of Torx. So if you're, let's say your pivot is double-sided, it's two you know, sides that you need the drivers. If you have 2 8s, then yeah, obviously you need 2 sets. A lot of people don't. So it's kind of nice that you can have one set of, you know, small or mini Torx drivers and be able to take that apart. So that was a kind of a smart thing. Interesting. All right, anyway, and this one, obviously, because of the style of the hardware, you only need one. So still better. But yeah, I'm trying to think before I go. Anything else? Lanyard holes. This is, you know, a round slot. That's just a slotted slot. Yeah, a little drippy on the bottom front here, which doesn't really make a difference unless, you know, when you're stabbing, I guess you have a little more grip on your front pointer finger. But again, no one, it doesn't. It's so unimportant and negligible. It's not really even worth mentioning. I'm just kind of, as I'm leaving here, trying to see if I'm missing anything. That's what I'm doing. But no, I think that's about it. The D2 is significant for me. It's a big deal. If this was $15, you know, 3 times the price, yeah, it still would make a difference. If it was $20, at $20 you have a lot of different knife options, but I would say from a Walmart perspective, then yes, it would still be my choice over a $5 knife based on the D2. But anything over that, I would say that's too much. Just go get a knife somewhere else. You have lots of options. But yeah, that's it. So, new knife from Walmart. Let me know if you guys got this one, what you think of it. A big shout out to Mathew Culberson. I hope I say his last name right. Matt, and I'm not sure if people call him Mathew or Matt. We've talked for years and stuff, but never like on the phone, so I never physically said, hey Matt, or hey Mathew. But him and his brother are just awesome guys. They do you know, they both have knife channels and have been loving knives forever. And he's the one who shot me a message on Facebook and said, hey, you gotta check it out. We got the new one, and he made a video right away. So I will link him in the top of the description here. Both of him and his brother. Check him out. Just super, super nice guys, very knowledgeable. Just always been friends. Just really, really nice guys. So just want to say thank you for that, because honestly, without his message, I wouldn't have gone to Walmart that particular day that I did. I've had other people tell me afterwards, but he was the first person that, hey, and I was just in a situation, I'm like, all right, well, I need something. I'm going to be in an area where there's a Walmart. Well, let me just pop in and see if they have it, and they did. So, you know, this coming to you because of him. So thank you. Appreciate it. Hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll see you tomorrow with a brand new video. Take care.